It's Monday, and you know what that means, folks. Another new episode of WWE Network and Chill. Welcome back. I'm Graham Giason Matthews, where every single Monday I give my in-depth analysis of all the content I watch on the WWE Network. And today we're talking Ride Along, Cruiser Control, the episode that aired after Monday Night Raw last Monday, April 17th, 2017. So I've talked quite a bit about Ride Along, I feel like, in the last couple of months. We talked about the Highway to Hollywood episode last week, and a couple weeks before that, the Philly Frenzy episode, Dallas Detour from a while ago. So today we're talking about, like I said, Cruiser Control. I like the clever title, by the way. Featuring Rich Swann, TJ Perkins, the Brian Kendrick, and Jack Gallagher. They're leaving the Barclays Center in Brooklyn for Connecticut, Mohegan Sun. They didn't give a time frame. It seems like you can kind of piece these together, piece these time frames together, the videos together, the episodes together in terms of when they take place. They showed like halfway through a match that Kendrick was having with Perkins, and Rich Swann asked Perkins about it. So I assume this took place like right before Mania. It was that match where Perkins got beaten a fucking like minute and a half, and it was right before WrestleMania. So I assume this is probably the most recent episode of Ride Along they've done. Usually it takes a couple months to go up on the network, but they've been putting them out like crazy in the past couple weeks, so I'm not sure if this is the last one, because they did not say, next time on Ride Along. Usually they do. They did not for this one. Anyway, so we start out with Jack Gallagher just annoying the fuck out of Brian Kendrick with questions and questions and questions. Kendrick does not say a single word. And maybe of course, these episodes are edited, so I'm sure they edited all of Kendrick's answers out and all of his responses just to make it look like Gallagher was annoying him much more than he actually was. But I have no doubt that their styles are very different. Their personalities are very, very drastically different. So I'm sure that Gallagher and Kendrick were not a good fit in terms of being on the road together. Meanwhile, TJ Perkins and Rich Swann talk about Vader. Vader's music plays and their fascination for Vader and rocking that giant mastodon helmet he used to sport in WCW. The only thing that Kendrick brings up early on, the only thing he says from what we get to see, he asks him whether he has a fast pass. Gallagher just says no, and that's it. Kendrick just shuts up for the rest of the trip as Gallagher just talks and talks and talks and talks. After that, TJ Perkins brings up the CWC, how much of a dream come true it was, how honored he is to be a part of the new generation of cruiserweights. He also talks about riding in ring trucks when he was homeless, and a cool little story there. Kendrick talks about that he says that he has a dog, and he asks Gallagher to reach back in the back of the car to get a picture of the dog out of his bag or something. And then we soon find out, via the captions below, that Kendrick does indeed not have a dog, and he's merely doing that to distract Jack Gallagher so he can get him out of his hair, if only for a couple of minutes. And Gallagher says, it's too dangerous, I'm not going to do it, and we're back at square one. So Kendrick is pretty funny on this show. So yeah, like I said, it takes place, I wrote down here that it takes place after Kendrick beats him on Raw, beats Perkins on Raw, right before WrestleMania. Kendrick shares a cool story. They passed the WWE headquarters, which I've passed multiple times. I don't live right next to headquarters, not by a long shot, maybe like 45 minutes to an hour out. But it is in Stamford, and going to Mohegan Sun, they passed the headquarters on the highway. And you can see the headquarters right from the highway. And I know we passed it about a year ago when RJ and I went to Extreme Rules and his girlfriend Molly to Newark, New Jersey. We passed it on the highway on the way there. But anyway, so Kendrick shares a quick story about not actually being let into the WWE headquarters. And the person at the front desk said, we don't let in fans. So what he did, he took the magazine on the front desk, and he found a picture of himself to prove that he worked there, that he wrestled for them, and they obviously let him in after that point. So that was pretty funny. That I guess if you don't have ID or something, if you're a wrestler and they don't know who you are and you're not John Cena, they won't let you in unless you have proof that you're a WWE superstar. So I think that's pretty funny. And I know for a fact they don't do like tours and shit. I mean, obviously, it's probably for the better. There's a lot of crazy fans out there, myself included. But I'm sure that's the reason why they don't do tours for fans of the headquarters. But at any rate, TJ Perkins says that Noam Dar should do navigation, like the Siri app or, like the Google Maps or whatever, just to hear his voice do it. Gallagher at random just blasts in the car Real Man's Man, William Regal's old theme song from like the late 90s. For whatever reason, I have no idea. They just play it over and over and over in the car. I mean, great taste. It's an awesome song. I don't know why he does it, though. Rich Swann and TJ Perkins talk about Southpaw Wrestling. Rich Swann asks, he inquires about TJ Perkins' character on the show, and TJ Perkins denies all association with Southpaw Wrestling, which is pretty funny. We need to see more Southpaw, by the way. It's been over a month since the episodes were released on WWE's YouTube channel. It was like a week-long thing. They hyped it up, and that was it, and they haven't said anything about it since, by and large, in programming. So hopefully we get a season 2 at some point, maybe on the network. Then we get to a rest stop with Kendrick and Gallagher, and Kendrick ditches Gallagher. They're about to go to the bathroom. Gallagher gets out of the car, and once he does, Kendrick opens the window, takes his fucking umbrella, I forgot what he calls it, takes the umbrella, throws it at Jack Gallagher, and he takes off. Obviously, this is staged, as every bit is staged as the JBL, Michael Cole, and Byron Saxton episode was, when they left Saxton out in the cold at the truck stop. This was the exact same thing. I'm just sure. Obviously, there's a fucking camera filming Gallagher from outside of the car, so obviously they knew he was going to ditch him. They planned it or whatever, or just to make it more dramatic than it actually was. But by pure coincidence, Rich Swann and Jack Gallagher pick him up from the gas station, from the rest stop, and he goes with them and he sits in the back. Kendrick, in the meantime, calls his wife and says that he finally got rid of Gallagher, got him out of his hair. He was fucking annoying the shit out of him, which was pretty funny. So then Gallagher talks to Perkins and Swann for the rest of the trip to Connecticut. He said that he had no idea Shawn Michaels used to wrestle before he was a commissioner in WWE. And I'm sure obviously his exposure of WWF at that time in the late 90s was limited over in England. That's what he said he started watching. And Gallagher's pretty young, so that's when he said he started watching the product, was when Shawn Michaels was commissioner. He had no idea he used to wrestle, which is pretty funny. And, Kendrick arrives at the hotel before those guys did, and he throws Gallagher's bags in the ground. He heads in the hotel and heads to sleep. And then Rich Swann, when they arrived at Mohegan Sun, he gets out of the car. He takes all of his poker chips, dumps them all over the car. He gets out of the car, starts dancing. Rich Swann is very charismatic. He's very personable. That's why he's over as a babyface, I feel. But he's got a very electric personality, to say the least. But, that is the Cruiser Control episode of Ride Along. Again, not the best Ride Along. I enjoyed it for what it was. The Kendrick Gallagher stuff was obviously very, very staged. A lot of their conversations, like on Ride Along, they talk about old road stories and stuff like that. Perkins, we get a little bit of that with the riding in the ring trucks thing when he was homeless. Other than that, they really don't share many stories. This episode is a bit shorter than the other ones, at only 16 minutes, I think, long. But other than that, it's only really just a pretty basic episode. Again, not must-see, but if you want to check it out, you have 60 minutes to spare. Check it out on the WWE Network. No more episodes to come, I would assume, for the foreseeable future. They usually, at the end of these shows, they tease what's next, and we didn't get that here for whatever reason. So, just because I think they aired all the episodes they wanted to air from Season 2, and they haven't filmed any more yet, so I'm sure they will at some point in the near future. But next week here in WWE Network and Chill, I'm sure we'll talk about something else. Maybe a Stone Cold podcast, tease, we'll see. That's what I was thinking about watching this weekend, this weekend before next Monday to review for WWE Network and Chill next week. But nevertheless, I appreciate your guys' support of the show. Like the video, drop a comment, share the video, subscribe to the channel above all else. That being said, enjoy the rest of your week, guys. Stay tuned for another all-new episode of WWE Network and Chill next Monday. In the meantime, check out all the other videos available right here on the channel throughout the week. I'm Graham Giacomo Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.